Christian.
Welcome, friends, to the Christian O'Connell Show podcast.
At the third stroke, it will be 3.
They do a good bagel.
2.
March 7 is the day Bianca and I are expecting our first baby.
1.
I don't even understand some of these nut milks.
The Christian O'Connell Show, Gold 104.3.
Wait, did you say your first baby? You've got more news today? It's one in a series of babies. It's like a Netflix season. How are you, Papa Jack?
I'm really good. I'll tell you, I'm joyous from all the lovely messages that poured in yesterday to both Bianca and I. I just can't believe that the people that listen to this show, how much they really have big hearts and they want to share it.
They're really happy for you guys. And right now, we're looking for good news, especially what happened here yesterday in Melbourne the last 2 days. You know, people want to be reminded of good things happening to good people, and it's amazing news for you guys.
I was properly shocked by how much of a response we got from it.
So take us through yesterday, right? You told us to huge bombshell. Even Sue the boss called me yesterday and goes, you knew, right? I went, I had no idea. I had no idea. And then she goes, I thought you planned. I went, I had no idea. We were in the song, and he said he had something here. Get the Backstreet Boys ready. And I just thought it was some rubbish about our Backstreet Boys night out next year. And it was, to begin with that. But I had no idea. So what happened after the show? You must have seen buzzing, you and Bianca.
Yeah, well, Bianca is... she's really crook. Like, she's had a terrible time of the first trimester. So even yesterday, she was going through, like, nauseous, like...
Did you have that, Patsy? Did you get bad morning sickness?
Yeah, I did. I got it more in the afternoon, though, from 4 o'clock.
I thought a big old lunches and that, yeah.
No, I'd opened my bulletin at 4 and I thought, oh, no, I'm actually going to vomit.
Bianca's the same way. It's not really morning sickness. It's just any time throughout the day. So I was getting excited about,
us guys have got no idea.
I was going to her, you know, like, what are we going to post on Instagram? Tell the world. And she's like,
oh, no.
So she didn't really bask in the glory of it yesterday. And thank you, Patsy sent a lovely bunch of flowers. Sue and the team did as well.
We're so happy for you, our family.
Yeah. Tell me this then, right? So when you and Bianca found out she's pregnant, who was the first person you want to tell? Was it mum or dad?
We called my mum first because mum was like, she knew that we were going through IVF and it's a really tough, difficult, and it can be a really lonely thing. Mum was the only person we told, and Bianca's parents as well. And so she knew we were going in to get the result of had it work or not, and it was a really low percentage chance that we were going to get pregnant, less than 10%, just because of the amount of eggs that we got, and just it's not it's a great science, IVF.
It's so hard on couples to go through it because what should be a fun, exciting thing, trying for a baby, suddenly becomes in the hands of medicine and doctors and all these sterile conversations.
It becomes really clinical, and then you're going into buildings to have conversations about like will you have a baby, will you be a parent, and you don't want to tell. Like of course I told you and Patsy, but most people in your life you don't want to tell because you don't want to get people's excitement up. You don't want them to worry for you.
It becomes a thing, and then people go in any news. It puts so much pressure on you.
Yeah, so you go actually through it. It's kind of a lonely experience. But Mum did know we were doing it, so she was ready on the Saturday morning when we were going to get the call about had it worked or not. And at the same time last year, we got the call to say it hadn't worked. And so she was the first person we called, and she was in tears.
I bet.
Burst into sobbing tears.
I think it's probably just a relief. She's happy that you guys are going to experience what it's like to be a parent.
Yeah.
She knows that you'll be a great dad and Bianca will be a great mum. So wait, they call you. Is that what happens with IVF? They will call you and give the news, yes,
I don't know
happening, or no, it's not.
Maybe that's a COVID thing. I'm trying to think now if that was...
we got calls as well when we did it,
It's just over the phone. And it's honestly, it's not even your doctor who makes the call. It's a nurse at the clinic. And so you're just someone on a piece of paper. So she goes, oh, yeah, okay, Bianca... yep, you're pregnant.
So a phone call that literally changes your lives, everything like that. It's just a phone call.
Yeah.
Wow.
I filmed Bianca getting that phone call as well, so I've got that.
This guy films everything. I didn't realise you were even filming yourself yesterday.
Yeah, I had a second
Tom,
camera.
the producer said, do you know this, Pats? He set up a camera filming himself, surprising us.
That's great, because that's beautiful to keep for little baby Jack when he's older, to have those precious moments.
Oh, yeah, he's really going to know what was the inside, what was my dad's POV. I'm really going to need to see this. I want to see it from a horrible radio studio point of view.
From
looking
a
up
very
my
low
dad's nostrils. Are we okay then? Can we play this morning? Because I know you also you actually did record the moment you told your mum.
Yeah, I showed it to you guys yesterday.
Are
we
okay
can
to play that?
Yeah.
Is your mum okay with that?
Yeah, she'll be fine.
Oh, I'd love to hear that. Thank you very much to all the people who've emailed and texted saying congratulations to Jack and Bianca as well. It means a lot to them.
The Christian O'Connell Show podcast.
So the big news dropped on the show yesterday. Jackie Boy's become a dad next year to a little baby boy. Great news. Sales have already sponsored your son.
Oh, great.
It's going to be called Chemist Warehouse.
Winston with the Y.
Yes. That's the second year. So they've sold the next 25 years of his life. Each year we have a different name for a different sponsor. Okay. So why don't you set this up then? So we've got the audio of your mum, finding out that her son is going to become a dad.
Yeah, that's right. So she knew that we were waiting for a call from the IVF clinic to tell us whether we'd been successful or not. We were given really low odds both times we did it. We failed last year. And Bianca and I were both not expecting. You try and get your hopes right down and not expecting for it to happen.
So are you managing Bianca's hopes? Because women feel so much shame when they can't conceive naturally. It's like their body has let you down.
It's really tough. So you've got to put yourself in, you really got to put yourself in the mindset of going like, hey, we could never be parents and that's going to be fine. We'll be fine if we're not. If that's not
But you can say that. It's still a hard thing to even possibly accept.
Yeah, and Bianca, that was a really difficult thing for Bianca to deal with and go through. So
was that like that for you, Patsy?
Yeah, honestly, Jack, you talking about this actually makes me feel really emotional because I know it's different for everyone and I don't want to assume how you and Bianca, how you've processed it, which is just why I just can't. I'm so happy for you because I know what this is like and you talking about it, it's just brought it all back for me as you talk about it now. And it is. You think, I used to say, what sort of woman am I? If, I can be a good newsreader and I can be this and that and good at whatever else, but what sort of woman am I if I can't do what I was put on this planet to do, is to have a baby?
Yeah.
Patsy, we're so lucky we had you through this because Bianca actually saw you as a great inspiration for it. And to know that, because people don't talk about IVF a lot.
No, they're embarrassed. They're ashamed.
Yeah. And to know that you and Chris struggled with that made it feel more, I guess, feel more comfortable about it. Just know what we were going into.
Yep.
And my heart breaks for people who it doesn't work for and try again. I spoke to people yesterday who reached out to me who tried 5 times, 8 times. One guy had a kid after 27 rounds of IVF.
People don't realise if you don't know what it goes, it costs so much money, let alone the time as well.
Yeah.
And the failure and what that does to a relationship.
Yeah, the financial strain, the emotional strain, it's a lot. And we only tried twice, so we consider ourselves really, really lucky.
You both doing such an amazing job. When you talk about IVF, honestly, what that does to so many people who are at the early stages, or they don't even know where they are, whether they are at the early stages, the middle stages, who've been through it. There is so much shame around it, especially for women. You honestly it's amazing what you do. Whenever you talk about IVF, and you were kind enough and generous enough to do that yesterday, Jack, with your good news, I get so many emails from people who are in it right now, who've been in it a long time. It's amazing what it is. From something so hard, but both of you obviously parents, it's an amazing gift that you're giving people. You're giving them hope and they need that.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, if people are going through it and they don't feel like they want to tell, you don't want to tell a whole lot of friends and family because you don't want them to worry about you. You don't want to get everybody's hopes up.
I guess it becomes a thing
you
have to talk about.
Yeah, and you don't want them, if it doesn't work, like I didn't want our friends and family to pity us. Like we would live a great, fulfilled life if we didn't have children. But we didn't want people to pity us and worry about us. So if people are going through that and they feel like they don't want to tell their friends and family, feel free to reach out to me. I'll chat to you about it. And if you're going through it at the moment, I'm happy to be a listening ear for you going through it because it was tough for us and we consider ourselves so very lucky. So this is, to get back to the audio, this is Mum knew obviously that we were going through all that we were waiting for the call from the IVF clinic to tell us that we were pregnant, and this is me then calling Mum on speakerphone after that. My Mum, how are you?
I'm fine. Did you get the window fixed?
The guys are working on the window right now.
Okay.
Bianca and I are pregnant.
Jack, I'm going to cry. I am so happy for you.
Isn't it crazy? you've made Jack cry now.
That is amazing. Thanks for sharing that. I'm tearing up hearing that. I can feel your mum's joy and relief.
Yeah, she really was. Uncontrollable sobbing, and that's an edited down version of what we had.
Just a couple of other things I've heard that a few times now is, what was going on with the window, by the way?
Oh, remember?
She thought, obviously, he's very emotional about that window right now. You know?
Remember?
Your mum goes, what's going on with the window? Knowing you, she's obviously heard too much about some small thing you've blown out of all proportion.
It was big. Remember in June, I borrowed Mum and Dad's car to transport that generator.
Oh, God.
And smashed the whole back of the window for her. So that was that morning.
She thought you were calling her on speakerphone about that video on a Saturday morning.
Yeah. That same morning that we were waiting for the call from the clinic, I was dealing with guys who could do an emergency repair on the back.
Huge life-changing event. And also, who actually addresses their mum? My mum.
My mum, how are you?
Hey, my mum. Hey, my dad. My host, how are you? My news, how are you? And also, I didn't realise what big news this was yesterday. Patsy, you need to put him in the news.
Bianca and I are pregnant.
Jack is pregnant, guys. Here's up, they're both pregnant.
The Christian O'Connell Show podcast.
Time now for some of your emails. You can email the show about anything you want. If you're catching up with podcasts, we call it Late to the Party.
Late to the party!
First up, we go to listener Jamie Phillips. Christian, congratulations, first of all, to Jackie Boy. As a father to 3, I can only say to him, it can be a slog, but it's totally worth it. That is the old doom with a bit of a sort of good news you get from dads, isn't it? People that... Have you heard that yet? Because it's really hard.
The doom is coming out of the woodwork, thick and fast.
It's like, no one does that about marriage or anything like that. You wouldn't go, bloody hell, it's hard. Anyway, congratulations, guys. They do that. It's the guys who are the worst ones, aren't they? God, I mean, good luck. Good luck. You wait till they're teenagers. So, this is from Jamie. Secondly, as every married man is supposed to say, my wife is my best friend and our names rhyme. This
Cute.
is exciting. Last week, I received an email from a listener called Wes, and his story was about his best mate, Les. Wes and Les. This has blown my tiny little mind, that a person could have a best mate whose name rhymes with theirs. And so this is an open invitation now for the rest of my radio career. I will never not be interested in hearing from people who have a mate whose name rhymes with yours. Right, so Wes and Les. Yesterday I got very excited. Our boss, Sue, has got a mate called Lou. No one else is excited by this. This guy's married. He's Jamie. His wife's called Amy.
That's nice.
They rhyme. Married to his mate, well, his wife, and she's called Jamie and Amy. As you can imagine, the hours of fun this has brought from people.
Hours?
Years.
We ran out of fun half a minute in.
Oh, that is sad. That is sad. Father just changed you. You're not the same guy. I've given you a little massage ball. I want that back now as well. Already you become a dad and his body's starting to fall apart with a bad back. Also, slight twist, Christian. My former PA is also called Amy, and then I found out her husband is also called Jamie.
Oh,
Jamie,
that's bizarre.
Jamie has a PA called Amy who's married to another Jamie. Just me on this one, guys. I know the listeners are going, what? Another email here about car pranks. We were taking your stories yesterday about car pranks. This is from Alex Maskell, listening to the podcast, reminding me of my mum's car prank at a level crossing. Get a load to this then. She drove the hill towards the level crossing barrier that was down. For some reason, she didn't press the brake as she approached. Smashed right through it. Casually pulled over. Took the barrier off the top of her car and then just carried on. Needless to say, she stopped driving forever a few days later. And this one's great. Do you remember back in the 80s, you also had this in the 90s, the crook lock that some people would get for their cars?
Oh, yes.
Doesn't that feel like an oldie worldy thing? Yes. Do you even see anyone putting that on? But back in the day, to protect certain cars, people would have a great big metallic arm, basically. They would strap to the steering wheel to stop who's stealing a car.
I guess it was in the days where you could hotwire cars easier.
Yeah.
There was hotwiring cars in movies all the time back then.
All the time.
But if you can't steal, then you can't get far.
The crook lock. I haven't seen the phrase crook lock. Do you remember they weighed a ton? They were massive. Back in the 80s, my mum had a brand new Mitsubishi Sigma. She was very proud. It was the first brand new car we ever owned. And being security conscious, she was worried about people, terrified someone would steal it during the night. She bought and fitted a crook lock between the steering wheel and the brake pedal and locked it. That was the really expensive one. There was a crook lock that was just the arm that would stop it. It would smash a window. It couldn't turn. But there was another one that had an extendable thing that was like sort of joined to the brake pedal. It's massive. It was about 5 foot. Dad was away on a business trip and had left his car keys, and Mum picked up his keys to move the car back from the garage door. But she couldn't find the key for the crook lock. No problem, said Mum. I only need to move the car 2 feet back to get the garage door open. She started the car with the crook lock still attached to the brake pedal, put it into reverse, then tried to brake. The crook lock did its job. The car idled gently away from the garage and off down the driveway, now picking up speed. My mum is panicking, trying to put the car into drive, but the crook lock won't budge. There was this horrid squeal coming from the transmission. She tried to get it into neutral. The car is really now picking up pace. It's heading across the road, and my mum realises where she's going. She can't steer it any other way. She's trapped in it. It's heading for our neighbours. Also, recently brand new, pristine, Valiant car. She tries to turn the steering wheel, but again, thwarted by the crook lock doing its job. She narrowly, by a millimetre, misses the Valiant, but smashes into the brick pillars of the carport sheltering the brand new Valiant. And bricks come out, and the roof of the carport smashes down onto this new car. The whole of this car was smashed in, and my dad's car as well. That comes from Rob. That is awesome. Really great to hear about the crook lock as well.
The Christian O'Connell Show podcast.
What a world we live in. We've got a listener called Paul. His wife is called Pauline. Mind blown. 20 to 7, just me. Gold 104.3, Christian O'Connell Show. Today, last chance to get one of you to join us on tomorrow's show. Big show tomorrow, then looking ahead to this weekend. Long weekend and the grand final. Thanks to Harvey Norman. Harvey Norman, footy finals. Don't miss a minute of the action. Huge prize tomorrow. One of you is going to be winning this home entertainment package. $4,000 delivered in time for Saturday's big game and installed as well. It is a 75-inch Sony Bravia TV. And Jackie Boy, what about the sound?
Hey, why have they got rid of all the detail in the sound bar?
I've just seen that. I mean, I can't remember the LCD, LED, Google TV.
Maybe we were speaking too much about all the bits and pieces.
I like the spec.
This just says Sony 3.1 soundbar. It was a Dolby from memory.
Come on, it was a Dolby surround sound, guys. Get excited, still. Last chance for one of you to join the other two winners so far and Fan in the Stand.
I'm the fan in the stand.
Blenders! What? Game's out there! Make you look.
All right, last spot. Not only do you go into tomorrow's grand final and you could be winning that $4,000 home entertainment package, the 75-inch TV. Right away, if you guess right this morning, you'll be winning $250 to spend at Harvey Norman. He said this week, Fan in the Stand is a celebrity in the stands. You've got to guess who it is. Yesterday, it was Anne Middleton, Chief Instructor on SAS Australia. I think you might get this one. I mean, this couldn't be any easier, could it? We might as well call this one, Can You Work a Phone? Then you can win. 9414-1043. There should be there's no excuse for wrong guesses. Who is this having a meltdown in the stands?
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious. That ball was on the line.
This is the Christian O'Connell Show podcast.
What is going on with you? Poor Jack is in a lot of pain. You've really knackered your back. What have you done?
I have no idea. I woke up at 3 a.m., went to bed fine, woke up at 3 a.m., and some muscle in my back under my shoulder blade.
The baby isn't even here yet. And you're like bending over, picking up. It's the thought of extra work he's going to have to do with a newborn child. As literally his body's giving up now, going, oh no, with the spine.
And then you gave me this, what do you call these? The massage balls, like a really heavy ball.
Yeah, you can tell I'm middle-aged. I carry one permanently in my bag. I've got one in the boot. I've got them in virtually every room of the house. Whenever you come to my house, you're never far from treading on one of those massage balls.
It felt good when I was on it, but I think it's made it worse. It's made it stiffer.
You need painkillers. We need a physio
I'll
to come.
help you out with those.
Yeah, the never-ending handbag of all kinds of drugs.
Patsy's last client was Michael Jackson. She used to help get to sleep every night. Got the old magic milk.
Got a bit of fentanyl for you in here, Jack.
That's right. You'll be right as rain when you wake up next year. Anywho, Harvey Norman footy finals. Don't miss a minute of the action. Time to find the last person who's going to be joining us tomorrow's grand final spectacular. One of you winning in time for the weekend, a brand new TV, 75-inch Sony Bravo TV, and Jackie Boy. Oh, come on.
No, I'm ready. You
Go
ready?
home. If you're just going to do this who's talking? I'm going towards the light. Come on, put the big girl bands on. Get on with this. It's just a radio show.
The Sony 3.1 soundbar.
The fever, the pain. I've got the big sick daddy. I can't do it, daddy.
I'm the fan in the stands.
Blenders. What? Game's out there. Make you look.
All right, better find our third and final winner tomorrow. A big challenge from all three of them. Let's find out who's the third one. Fan in the stand then. We play you a celebrity fan in the stands. You've got to guess who it is. This morning. My word. What a tough one.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious. That ball was on the line.
You got this!
Laura.
Yes.
Yes. Laura.
How are you?
I'm good, Laura. How are you?
I'm really, really good.
Excellent, Laura. So, Laura, who do you think it is then? Who's the fan in the stand?
That has to be John McEnroe.
Yeah, tough one today.
Yay!
Serious, man. You cannot be serious. That ball was on the line.
I still love his
Shot
meltdown.
flew up. It was clearly in. How can you possibly call that out? How many you can miss?
Laura, well done. So straight away you won $250 to spend at Harvey Norman, and tomorrow you're back on the show. We're going to speak to you at the end of the show. You'll find out with the other two winners so far, Ben and Corey, what the big grand final challenge is tomorrow. Well, I'll say for now is, have you got a good singing voice?
Me? Oh, gosh, no.
Brilliant. It's going to be even more exciting than tomorrow, Laura. But we'll speak to you in 2 hours' time. Laura, I just need to know, who are you going to be barracking for this weekend? Who are you going to be cheering on for the grand final?
Go D's.
Well,
go D's. Go D's.
Strong chance to win that TV now tomorrow, Laura. All right, well done. We'll speak to you in 2 hours, mate.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
On a brighter note, you're listening to the Christian O'Connell Show podcast.
Getting into our A to Z of the 80s this week about the letter S.
ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3.
Today's letter is letter S. Christian O'Connell's S of the 80s.
All right, the letter S. Patsy, what is the letter S in the 80s for you, mate?
Oh, in the 80s for me, the letter S was about sunny boys on a hot summer's day. Sunny boys, Christian, I'm not sure if you're across those.
Sorry, I just meant you meant sunny boys, boys in the sun. I was like, okay, a bit creepy, but let's roll with it. You know, as often she'll take the show wherever she wants to and put it down when she's done with it. But yeah, sorry. Sunny boys?
Sunny boys was an icy pole treat.
Right,
They're
gotcha.
a pyramid-shaped icy pole, but without being on the stick
You're
like
going
a
to get more
block.
simplistic names for things in Australia. Icy pole.
These were beautiful. You could get them in all flavours, couldn't you, Jack? Like orange. Cola was my favourite, and raspberry.
My problem with the Sunny Boy is I would suck out all the flavour and it would then just be a big icy block.
But
and
didn't you find that
that
ice lollies years ago, that flavour was actually, when you sucked it out, and it was just left with the translucent ice.
Yeah.
The flavour was really weak in there, wasn't it? There wasn't a lot of it.
I wouldn't eat the ice after that. I would suck the
Yeah,
flavour
you
out.
And
throw it
also,
down in.
different time now with food labelling that. What the hell were they injecting those things with?
Probably nuclear
You ain't
waste.
putting that stuff in those things now, are you? Seriously, they've had to put laws in to go, you cannot get kids to go anywhere near that.
Maybe that's why the Sunny Boy is no longer with us.
No, I think you can get it.
You can still get a Sunny
you can
Boy.
get it at IGA, but you used to get it.
Of course you can. IGA.
You used to go to Melbourne Show, and some of the show bags had them in there, and you couldn't wait to get home and put in the freezer for it to freeze in time. But there was quite an art to eating them because you had to be careful because some of the corners were actually quite sharp. So you had to be careful.
It's an ice lolly. Who's
it's like a pyramid
Who's alive
thing.
today who's got some survivor's story about an injury from having a Sunny Boy?
No, you had to be
Sharp
careful.
corners on an ice lolly. What's going to happen?
And there was an art to opening them because if you peeled too much of the foil sort of covering over, they would
Right,
shoot
Mary
out like
Kondo,
a
there's
bullet.
an art to this. There was an art to peeling it. It was mindfulness before we knew it was mindfulness. Just having one of these delicious Sunny Boys.
So there was a Sunny Boy. What I wouldn't have to have another one. And scrunchies, which are back in vogue again.
Oh my God, yeah. Everywhere in the house and at the girls' scrunchies. My wife uses them as well. Yeah, scrunchies are back around. So if people aren't, remind people of the scrunchie, Patsy.
The scrunchie is a hair tie, but it's like a fabric hair tie. You can get it in all different sort of, colours. My first one was a denim one with pearl sort of attachments, if you like.
Snazzy. Sounds like a chandelier hanging from your head.
Oh, this thing I loved it. It was very expensive.
I guess you have to be careful if you're having a Sunny Boy, because there's an art to those, and you've got that hanging attachment from your head. It could get in the way of the ice lolly, couldn't it?
I wore it to my maiden blue light disco, and I thought I was it in a bit on the dance floor there doing the nut bush. And it came a bit loose, so I had to go to the loos with my girlfriends to fix my do. And as I pulled it out, it actually dropped in the cistern, in the toilet bowl.
You didn't pick it up.
What do you think?
You did?
I did.
Oh, God, Patsy!
I didn't put it back in my hair. I just put it in my bag. But this thing, I'd saved
That's
for
not
ages
still in there
for
to this
it.
day, because the amount of crap you've got in that TARDIS handbag, I couldn't believe there was easily something from the 80s that had been down a toilet there.
I should have a look. But yeah, all about the scrunchies. They were a bit of a crime to fashion, and I can't believe they're back in, but they are.
Yeah, you can get I think it's 10 for a buck from that Levissa. Levissa, about 80% of the store is scrunchies.
The Christian O'Connell Show podcast.
As we've been doing in the last couple of weeks, as we go through the 80s and each of the letters of the alphabet, Jackie Boy, obviously a child of the 90s, he's been educated through the 80s from the movies of the time. Last week, he loved a solid 9 out of 10
Definitely.
for Roadhouse. Yesterday's one, I asked him to watch the Steve Guttenberg, him of Who's Calling Christian, the Goots classic with Ali Sheedy, Short Circuit. Did you watch this in the 80s, Patsy? I loved it.
I did, yeah. I must get it out again, though.
This felt like a prank. Honestly, you told me as I left yesterday, you will love Short Circuit. That was
May have
rubbish.
exaggerated. It's absolute
Rubbish.
stinker, isn't it?
It's a stinker.
I went to bed laughing last night. That scene in Dumb and Dumber, he's on that moped because he knows he's given him the start that's going to make his bowels run. I was laughing like that. I thought you would have. Did you actually watch the whole movie?
I watched the whole thing.
Oh, wow, commitment.
Let's have a listen to the trailer then of Short Circuit.
At Nova Robotics, the future is in good hands.
You're doing real good. Just keep working on those last 2 bars.
Thanks to Dr. Newton Crosby.
Originally, I designed it as a marital aid.
But artificial intelligence has gotten too smart.
Early AI,
It's malfunctioning. It
foreshadowing.
might not do anything.
But it could decide to blow away anything that moves, couldn't it?
Because $11 million worth of robot just hit the road.
Johnny Five, I'm alive. What an amazing line.
I am alive.
This is when they thought that the future and AI robots would all basically, like C-3PO, sound like some kind of English butler. Oh, hello, sir. I'm here to help you. I'm a robot.
He was meant to be the smartest creation ever, except why did he speak with that broken English accent? He was always input, learning things all the time, but he couldn't learn how to speak for the whole film.
What did you make of it?
I hated it, honestly.
I knew you would. It's terrible, isn't it? It wasn't that great at the time.
Steve Guttenberg's back. I get he's a charming guy. You guys loved him in Police Academy. I thought he was nice in Police Academy, but the film was crap. Again in this. Like, he's sort of a charming guy, but the movie is just so ridiculous. And now he's so unbelievable as a doctor and like the genius who built all these robots. They put him in an ill-fitting blazer, and that's meant to signify like...
Yeah, that's right. That sort of nod towards he's a nerd. Just look at that blazer.
But number 5, who's the robot who gains artificial intelligence and becomes human.
Johnny Five.
He's such a rip-off of E.T. He's
How
like
dare you.
a robot version of
Yeah.
E.T. He even looks like E.T.
Yeah.
And his catchphrase is, number 5 is alive, which sounds like E.T. phone home.
Yeah.
And he speaks like E.T. I just kept watching going, are we really suckers here? 4 years before this movie was made.
Yeah, in the 80s we were easily suckered.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, you've had E.T., which was a great film, and now have a
metallic,
watered-down,
crappy version of it.
crappy version. He's meant to be an $11 million robot, and he looks like a plastic toy that came out of a Happy Meal.
It's true. He did.
He was so flimsy.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Really. Marks out of 10 for Short Circuit.
I think
Is this worse than Karate Kid? Worse than Police Academy?
I like Karate Kid. It was just way too long.
Yeah.
Police Academy I didn't like. I think I gave it a 2 out of 10. Short Circuit, 1 out of 10.
Wow, wait, a damning review.
The Christian O'Connell Show podcast.
Yesterday on the show, some amazing news for all of us, really. You guys, us, but especially Jack and his lovely wife, Bianca. They are going to become parents. And amazing news, little baby boy.
That's right, coming in March next year. We couldn't be more excited.
And one of you has been paying attention more than any of us. Mm. What an exciting email I got. Christian, long-time podcast listener who never misses a podcast. Anywho, Jack announced he and Bianca are 16 weeks pregnant. Amazing news. Please pass on my congratulations. However, I went back and started thinking about 16 weeks ago. What happened 16 weeks ago? 16 weeks ago exactly from yesterday when he shared the news, it was the 4th of June. Maybe you've forgotten what you had on the show. Let's go back 16 weeks in time, friends. In this very studio, renewing their vows. Jack and Bianca.
My dearest Giacomo, we fit so well from day one. I truly have never loved anything and anyone more. I just really enjoy you. I promise to lift you up to your full potential, to inspire you, to help to keep us moving forward to the next thing, and to honor and understand your truest self, whoever that may be at the different and many stages of our life together. I can't goddamn wait.
I love you so much.
16 weeks ago, man.
I can't believe that.
Listener called Matthew, went back and saw that 16 weeks ago. 16 weeks ago, you can feel the emotion that. It was a lovely moment for us to share with you and Bianca renewing your vows. But obviously there was a lot of emotion and there are a lot of pheromones in this studio. So much so, but do you remember I said you could go home early?
I do remember that.
I actually felt like, genuinely, the show was getting in the way of the passion. Things were spilling over, shall we say. Jack has made it crystal clear. He has no time for this show at 9. And I agree. You now, my friend, off you go. 16 weeks ago. You go. Here's the keys to the merch cupboard. Don't come a knocking if the posts are rocking.
I'll see you guys Monday
morning.
Let's
do it again. You dirty old dog. 16 weeks ago, in the car park of this radio station, round the back. 16 weeks later, he's got a bad back. Naughty. What have you been up to?
Well, I can tell you, sadly, it is nowhere near as romantic as that. What happened?
Oh, come on.
To go through IVF, you take a little plastic cup into a room.
Don't ruin it with that. We don't need to know about that. We don't. Stop.
The Christian O'Connell Show podcast.
This week, then, we are celebrating the MCG. No grand final this weekend. However, let's give the MCG some love. So many stories. Yesterday we spoke to Rob, who actually was part of the team that built the famous, the amazing lights. Not just that, he got to watch the first ever night game at the MCG from the top of them. As I was coming to work today, I looked over at the right. Obviously, haven't chatted to Rob yesterday. Do you know, by the way, they have they're on, but very low wattage, or whatever you call it now, lumens. The MCG,
really?
They're on overnight. But in a very dim way, like a night light, like the MCG gets lonely at night.
It's scared of the dark.
the landing lights on, please, Daddy. All right, so your MCG stories.
I'm high on the hill, looking over the bridge to the MCG.
So if you've got a story about the MCG, it doesn't have to be to do with the grand final, anything to do with the MCG, give us a call now, 9414-1043. Sit back, though, and enjoy this amazing, epic story that Shane Crawford has got for us, because when Crawford delivers, he really does deliver. This is an amazing story, and as soon as he starts to take you there, I'm willing to bet there might be someone listening right now who actually saw this, that was at the game. But let's go back in time to a big moment in footy at the MCG. Here's our storyteller, Shane Crawford.
The venue, MCG. The year 1996, Hawthorn taking on Melbourne in what would turn out to be a historic match. It's the last round of the season. It's under lights, and the future of both clubs unknown. There was a lot of speculation they were going to merge together. So it was going to be the end of the Melbourne Football Club and the end of the Hawthorn Football Club. And when you think about it, you merge the Demons and the Hawks, you get the Dorks. It was never going to work. But uncertainty from a playing point of view, a supporter point of view, it was a really angry, frustrating and scary time for everyone who loved their clubs. Hawthorn had to win to progress into the finals, and the Demons, well, they weren't sure what was going to happen. The game went on. Jason Dunstall kicked 10 goals for the Hawks to bring up his 100th goal. All the crowd run out onto the field, slapping him on the back, high-fiving. A lot came over to me and asked for autographs. I said, not now. I'm playing footy against the Demons. But this match had it all. Thrills, spills. It was a high-scoring match. It was just one of the great matches where both teams were playing for the spirit of their clubs. We get to the end of the match and the Hawks win by a couple of points, which was great. But the most historic moment from there was when the captain of the Hawks, Chris Langford, he took off his top and he held up his jumper to the Melbourne supporters, to the Hawthorn supporters, and said, do not let these clubs disappear. Get behind them. Find a way for them to survive. It was one of the most historic moments ever at the MCG, the Melbourne Football Club. What about this? Can they go on and win the flag? Now, that would be absolutely beautiful. And the Hawks have managed to go on and win a few as well. And, by the way, a little kid called S. Crawford, number 9, kicked a couple of goals. And he was probably one of the better players.
What an amazing story. What an amazing moment. I'd kind of forgotten about that when I first moved here, and we had Hamish McLaughlin for the first year on this show.
Yep.
Was kind of holding my hand and inducting me into the ways of footy. And I remember him touching on that story. And obviously I hadn't met Shane Crawford at the time then. I'd totally forgotten. Of course, Crawford was right in that game and Dunstall kicking 100. But I didn't realise, though, the D's almost not a club.
It's crazy to think now, especially like you see the outpouring of love for the Demons this week when they're in the grand final. And of course, Hawks went on to win 4 premierships, playing 5, maybe 6 since that time. So it would be unimaginable that those two clubs merged.
That was a possibility, that they were going to merge. It's extraordinary. We found some of the original commentary.
Crawford rams it beautifully, 25 metres out, kicks and puts it through.
And he also did this.
So Crawford, who was just about knocked out. Crawford's kick, not bad, but not good enough.
He left that bit out, the story. And we found some of the commentary as well for Dunstan's moment.
Look at this. It's going to be his.
Here they come down there to watch Dunstall kick his 100th goal again.
How many here? 62,050 going to come over the fence.
Yeah, but there's about 40,000 security staff. Dunstall, more importantly, goes for goal and he's got it. 100 goals to Jason Dunstall.
Is it me to a crowd's roared louder then?
That is one of the great traditions in the game. A player kicking 100 goals and everybody runs on the field.
Amazing.
This is the Christian O'Connell Show podcast.
We are loving all your MCG stories this week.
I'm high on the hill, looking over the bridge to the MCG.
Every time we've spoken and got your amazing stories about the MCG, there's always some story about a lapsed security guard looking the other way and letting a cousin or family member or just a mate or indeed everyone into some area that we shouldn't be in. Changing rooms, onto the Oval. Nowhere else in the world has this kind of amazing look the other way security. Today, will we have another one? Let's find out. Kelly, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Kelly. Thanks for calling the show. Kelly, what's your MCG story, mate?
I had my first kiss at the MCG.
That is a pretty amazing place to have it. What was it, a game or a concert? What was going on?
It was a cricket game. One day up, day night, Australia were playing. I don't remember who they were playing. I think I was probably concentrating on other things at the time. I went with my sister. And we sat down, a bunch of young guys came and sat down next to us. They were country boys, we later found out.
Those country boys up in the big smoke for a couple of you ladies. Huh? Wrestling on the farm, wrestling in the stands. They make them strong out there.
Yeah, that's right. So one thing led to another. I went for a walk with one of them. I think his name was Warwick from the country. And yeah, one thing led to another.
Warwick from the country. Hey, darling, I'm Warwick from the country. Also, cricket goes on for ages.
Yeah.
Why not be making out in the stands? I'd urge more people to do that during a long old test or a long old game.
It's a bit more interesting than the game at the time.
Sometimes. This is true. Kelly, that's a great one. Thank you very much for your story. Take care.
Thank you.
And watch out for those country boys.
Thanks, Christian.
Yeah, take care. Damien, good morning.
Hello, Christian.
Yeah, Damien, what are you up to there, by the way, before you speak to us? It sounds like you've got business going on at the other end. Everything all right?
No, I'm on the way down to have a post-operative appointment with my doctor.
All right. I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, mate, I'm great. Yep, no worries.
Good man.
It's all good.
All right, Damien, the MCG.
Yes. Now, Fitzroy, or the Lions, won 2 grand finals back-to-back. Now, my daughter, Frances, who's a nurse, goes with her mother. And she was at the grand final, and as they were coming out of the stadium, a guy from Port Power, a spectator, was kicked by somebody else, and he fell and cracked his head open on the sharp bricks on the ground. And this led to quite a bit of trauma, and he was checking out. And my daughter was right there, being a nurse, and she went to work, used her scarf as a pillow, and stopped the bleeding so much, covered in blood. The ambos turned up, and he was taken off to hospital, and he was survived by her, of course. And then that was nice. The year before, she was at the grand final with her mother, and the guy